I don't know. I said Bitcoin's an invention, but absolute scarcity is a discovery. Almost like conservation laws in physics. We don't really invent those. We discover them basically in reality, and we start building our systems around it. So um,
Right.
it's fascinating how Bitcoin just confounds language when you really get to the edge of it, I suppose.
It does confound language. Language is a very crude form of communication, actually.
Mm,
So the abstraction of thoughts into ability to manipulate our throat and our mouth and our tongue and our to create little bursts of sound
mm,
into syllables and into words and into syntactical logical sequences. It's by the time the thought kind of makes it out of your mouth, it's highly abstracted, and then it goes into another extremely abstract place called somebody else's brain, which
mm,
is a warren of emotions and chemicals and experiences and perceptions, and it gets processed, and then it goes into something called consciousness, and then that person will respond to what you just said using the same kind of wonky, faulty mechanical engineering of the mouth and throat and back, and you go back and forth like this. And I think most communication absolutely fails. You see instinct in the animal kingdom works a lot better, right? So when
mm.
bees are at the beehive making honey, they're not actually talking to each other per se, are they? They're emitting, I don't know if bees emit pheromones, but they are dancing. They are all
Mm.
nonverbal. It's all instinctual, and it all seems to add up to something that we call the ecology. I think with words and Bitcoin, what I focus on is less about, let's say, markets and pricing markets in units of money. I think more in terms of price discovery.
Mm.
So for me, price discovery is really the most fascinating part of markets. And it's the process wherein players in the market come together and they decide on an equally beneficial, mutually acceptable price, despite coming to that process, coming to that interaction with wildly different, disparate expectations and backgrounds, and that that price is agreed upon. And the goal for me, I think, would be perfect price discovery, which would be absolutely frictionless price discovery. For example, photosynthesis to me is frictionless price discovery. It's
Mm.
plants are turning into oxygen, um, carbon into oxygen essentially on the photosynthetic behavior of the green leaf, and that's a perfect market. It's a frictionless market that you could say.
Mm.
And I think with Bitcoin, with perfect money, it brings you to a place where we can experience those types of perfect markets intercommunally with each other. And I think we're seeing the rise of that. I think that would represent the Bitcoin singularity.
Mm.
When our our global unconscious kind of joins and goes through the portal
Mm.
into this place where all thoughts are overlapping perfectly, and we're having a certain epiphany and
Mm.
rapturous union with Satoshi. I think that's what
Mm.
Bitcoin ultimately takes us to. The idea of money and property and wealth actually gets disintermediated completely, and you end up with just a state of being, which is what has been intuited by mystics and shamans and religious folks for eons from the beginning of time. There's always been this idea that we can enter a space of shamanistic space of union with the mystical. And I think
Mm.
Bitcoin is a way for us to get there by collapsing all price discovery to zero and by unifying our collective unconscious in a way that takes us through the Bitcoin singularity portal.